How many of you guys know Jon Daly? Yeah? Quite a few? Okay, how many of you guys don't know Jon Daly? Okay. Well, he is a professional golfer. That's a joke. It's another guy named Jon Daly. Never mind. Nobody's golfers here. Never mind. Anyway, Jon is a collector of various Elvis items and rare things. It's amazing what his collection consists of, really. And so I thought it would be kind of unique, because this event is about Elvis, to make it more about Elvis and to have some of his artifacts here to kind of show you guys and the history, behind those things. So please welcome to the stage Mr. Jon Daly. Or as we like to call him, the Colonel.
The Colonel, yes. Jon Daly, the golfer, actually has got me some privileges down in the Tunica. Apparently he frequents down there. All right. See, the Colonel didn't sing, so he doesn't know how to handle the microphone. I feel like Angie Marchese right now. All right, y'all ready to have some fun? I know you guys have been enjoying the entertainment here, so I appreciate y'all coming in. We're going to have a little bit of fun today. I'm going to give the opportunity for 3 people to have a photo op. Let me take it out. Yep, the real one. So this is from Detroit, April 22nd, 1977. A very nice floor seat. I got her program as well. And I just got this out of a collection in Michigan. So I've got 3 trivia questions. If you can get it right, then you can get a photo op. No gloves, and you get to wear it. So, what do you think the oldest artifact that I've got is? A year or a place would be acceptable. Any guesses what the oldest thing in the box is? Okay, you cheated. Yes, so he's right. So this would be Elvis Presley's high school commencement program. So that's the inside of it. And the class president was a guy named George Klein. So he's in here as well. So this is a piece that I picked up in Memphis. And some of the stuff that's in here is for sale, this included. I already have one in my collection. So yeah, so you get a picture with the scarf. All right, so we got 2 more. Well, I had my questions wrote down. We're going to test my memory, I guess. So, what is the, there's actually two answers to this. One is a technicality, one is not. What are the 2 places outside the U.S. that Elvis performed? Is that Canada? Canada, yeah, Canada's one. Never Germany. Hawaii. It was the territory of Hawaii. And the interesting thing is in '59, Hawaii became a state, and Ricky Nelson performed at the show. And so I had some photos of James Burton with Ricky. So I gave him to James, so if he gets his book off the ground, he might actually see those. All right, so what are all the dudes? I thought the ladies wanted to wear the scarf here. I mean, come on now. Come on. There you go, the dudes can pick a lady. How about that? That's right. Come on. Come on, let's be Tom Jones. She's a lady. Come on now. All right, and I guess the third question would be name the one film that Elvis never, he sang the opening title. He never. Okay, who said Charo first? Okay, the lady in the pink. All right, there you go. So there you go, there's our three. So after the show, y'all can get your picture with the scarf. So basically, you got the commencement program from 53, and then how many of you guys saw the movie? Okay. Remember the replica hat that Tom Hanks was wearing? Yeah. So this is a 1956 EPE, which actually a lot of people think Elvis Presley Enterprises is new. It's actually from 1956. And ironically enough, there's the original tag still. Yeah, these are kind of hard to come by in decent condition because so many people wore them, so. Thousands. I mean, if you look at some of the pictures of the fans back in '56, they sold tons of them. But nobody thought to keep them nice, and nobody thought to keep the tag on them. So that's kind of a rarity to see the tag with them. Yeah, they're a couple $100. Yeah. So one of the other things that you could have worn in 1956 on your head was a headscarf. So this is a headscarf from 1956. It's not in the best of condition, but I guess if you were a scarf from 1956, you might be a little worn out too, so. The coloring is still nice, but because of how thin the material is, this is actually pretty common to see them, a little worn out. So a lot of this stuff is pushing, 65, 70 years old now. So, and I think these were maybe $2 in 1956. This condition, probably around 100. The nicer the condition, the more money they go for. This would be like a good starter piece for someone's collection to get into that wants something from '56. And I know these might be a little hard to see, but these are what they call the flasher buttons. Even better. So these were made by a company called Veriview. They're out of New York. And so they have this picture. The black and white promoted the film Love Me Tender. And the color one was just basically just an Elvis. Didn't really have anything to do with the movie. But the scarf and the hat and the buttons. Prior to that, you think about Elvis coming up in 1954, 1955. If you went to see him, you could buy a program and you could buy a picture. The merchandise came from Colonel Parker. So that's why I have a job, is because of him, so. Thank you, Colonel. Yeah, you can, yeah, when they move, yeah. And the other ones, I had these at Elvis Week. They're very popular right now, is the I Love Elvis and the I Hate Elvis. He did both. And both of them were very popular. And the I Hate Elvis was actually in blue for the dudes. Because the dudes, you know, come on, we go to see Elvis, and you're like, you forgot I was even sitting here? I bring you to see Elvis, and like, I don't even exist? I don't like that guy. He's getting all the girls. So the guys were like, oh, come on, like, you know, he's just pretty and has sideburns. He won't go anywhere. He's a flash in the pan. So that didn't work out so well. What's the next slide that we got? Let's do the badge. Yeah, so this is the commencement program, and you can see, yeah, well, the president welcome was George Klein. A couple of years ago, I actually acquired George's collection in Memphis. So I have the ad for when he was running for class president, and I also have all of his graduation photos that are original from 1953. Let's do the badge. So this badge, it looks big here, but I'll show you what it really looks like. It's actually very tiny. Yeah. So the interesting thing about this badge is it's from the estate of Dick Rope. And it's a small badge, but the fun part is it's actually the biggest title that I've ever seen for an Elvis badge that I've ever had. So even though it's a small badge, Baton Rouge made him chief of police, because he collected badges. So this is actually a pretty cool one, because apparently Baton Rouge really liked Elvis and made him honorary chief of police. Dick told me an interesting story about one of the badges that I had. It was a lieutenant's badge, and it had a nice letter from Joe Esposito, and I showed it to him. And I said, is this a real badge? He said, yeah, I was there the day that the Palm Springs Police Department gave it to Elvis. He said, I set everything up. I worked for the Palm Springs Police Department, and they present Elvis with the badge. And Elvis says, oh, thank you so much. That's a lieutenant's badge. Here, Joe, you can have that one. I was really hoping for a captain's badge. So the guy that bought it from me, I told him, I said, Elvis owned it from here to here. So he passed the lieutenant's badge off pretty good. So I'm really surprised that the chief of police, there must have been something special between Elvis and Dick Rope for him to turn loose of this, because that's a honorary chief of police was a pretty big, I would imagine that was a very special honor for Elvis to be chief of police, because he, you know, he liked his badges. And this actually is an artifact that is for sale through the estate of Dick Rope. So I'm working with his family to help sell some things for them. So this is one thing that is for sale. Yeah. Well, yeah, he really collected badges. I mean, badges and patches. So kind of like how I've seen a lot of faces at the table that collect Elvis stuff. So how we collect Elvis, Elvis was that way for police badges and guns. So anywhere he went, he always tried to pick up something for his collection. So there are a lot of badges that Elvis has. Graceland has most of them, but there are a few of them that he did give to the guys that worked for him or other people and things. So there's a few of them that are out there, but not very many. I know one of my friends has the badge that Nixon had given him. There was actually two. So the first one he gave to Sonny, and then because Nixon sent him one that had his name on it, so he kept the one with his name. and then he gave Sonny West the original badge that he got at the White House. So ironically enough, that's not at Graceland, but he was very, very giving. So he gave a lot of stuff away to, Dick worked for the police department, so I'm sure that's probably how he ended up with that. Let's go to the watch. It's right after the badge. Okay, so that's my friend Dick Rowe. I wonder who that other guy in the jumpsuit is. The drums are, so, so this was a Christmas present to Dick Rowe from Elvis, 1975. He loved the digital watches, so nowadays everybody has these, the iPhone watch, but back in the time, the digital watch was kind of ahead of its time. So 1975, Elvis gifted this to Dick Rowe for Christmas, and then Dick wore it in '77 on the tour, and so you can actually see this very watch on his wrist as he's doing security for Elvis. And this is one of the things that Dick held on to his entire life. He thought this was, a nice gift from his friends. So this is the first time that's actually been seen outside of the family. Yeah.
It's an LED,
Yeah.
not an LCD.
Yeah. Yeah, Elvis loved them. I know he gave Charlie Hodge one. He just thought they were very cool, and he loved to give them to the guys that worked for him. But there's not very many of them that you actually can get that have photo provenance like that. When I saw this picture, I'm like, oh, there it is. There's the watch. No, unfortunately, it's one of those things that is 45 years old that doesn't work. Yeah, they were definitely ahead of their time. I don't know specifically what Elvis would have paid for it. Sam Thompson said that he also had one, that him and Dick both received one at the Christmas of '75. So he must have bought several of them and passed them out that year. But yeah, you get a watch. You get a Lincoln's must have been short that year. Cadillacs, everybody got a watch that year. I think Taylor could answer that one. My most prized possession that Elvis owned. So my most prized possession is actually definitely one of a kind. There's only one in the world, and everybody, including Taylor, is after me for it, but that term, out of my cold dead hands, comes to mind. There you go. So it's the ring that Elvis was wearing on his pinky on the the Frank Sinatra show. Yeah, good luck. Taylor got to wear it at Graceland in March at the anniversary of the Sinatra special. Yeah. He had the ring he had gifted to someone in Memphis, and they held on to it for 40 years, and then the family held on to it for another 30. So. It's small, but it packs a punch. It's Taylor dressed as Elvis from the Sinatra special. I may have told him, if you lose it, you're just buying a house for me, that's all. Like, no pressure, no pressure. Does anybody know what the Elvis history with Roanoke is? The Elvis history for Roanoke, right up the road here. The history with Roanoke is that Elvis, when he came in, they filmed the landing at the airport for Elvis on tour. So when you watch Elvis on tour and you see the plane come in and he's meeting the mayor and everything, that was all done in Roanoke. So these are also from Dick Rope's collection as well. But if we had a time machine, we could go back in time. This is what you needed to go backstage. So, Juanita, I think mine trumps yours. These are original backstage passes that the Memphis Mafia would have worn to come and go at Elvis's show. They also had... Next year I want one of those, please. They also did have ID with their picture on it. And kind of as a spoof, they made Elvis one with his picture on it, just in case he couldn't get into his own show. But these are very collectible, and they're all unused. They're all in excellent condition. And again, when you know Dick Rope and he is head of security, he had one or two of these laying around. Yes? 1972. We have the ad. We have the ad that we can put up for Roanoke. Oh, actually, you can put the ticket up. Yeah, put the tickets up. Yeah. So $10 was 72, the most expensive ticket to see Elvis. That would have been right here. Yeah. So they were $10, they were $7.50, and then up there would have been $5. And he basically said, keep the prices low, I want the fans to come see me. And then Jerry Weintraub tells a story, who was the promoter for Concerts West, that when they went on tour, he said, Elvis, is there anything that you need, anything I can get you? And he said, yeah, just don't keep those high rollers down here. He's like, I don't want to be sitting here singing to anybody, I want my fans down here. You put my fans down front. I think he liked the kisses, is what he liked. I could be wrong. So this is Roanoke 76. This is the line to get tickets. And Juanita's at the head of the line down there. So that's the line to the box office for the Roanoke 76 show. And yeah, if you look at it, apparently it was a little hot that people, they weren't leaving. I'll put a magazine on my head before I leave. Somebody that was taking a break. I mean, how many of you saw Elvis? Wow. And so you probably all have some stories about waiting in line at the box office, because you didn't buy those online, did you? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So you had to get there early to get up close. Yeah, there's another one for the box office. In fact, I think is that you right there down in the corner? Like, that looks like you. Yeah. I mean, we have it easy now, but you know, back in the day, to go see Elvis, if you wanted to get tickets, it was not an easy task. Wow. Yeah, I mean, my hat's off to the original fans. I mean, I wish I could have been there. I wasn't born yet. But, so this is a fun article, too. This basically is when Elvis flew into Roanoke. And I read the article last night, and it was really funny because when he came in, you know, Elvis was there had to be organization when it came to Elvis being there. So basically, to sum up the article, there was a ton of fans that were there, and the colonel says, everyone get behind the fence and you get a free Elvis picture. Instant cooperation. So he tells all of the news media that was there, you all get behind the fence and I'll take you on the plane to meet him. You know, instant cooperation. And it says that one reporter, when the door opened, made a run for it. And the colonel smacked him with his cane and said, I said get behind the fence, I'm not herding cattle today. So one reporter wanted to get the scoop on Elvis, and the colonel was like, no, you'll wait your turn. And then whenever all the fans were behind the fence, everybody had their free Elvis picture, and everybody was kind of getting, you know, antsy. And Elvis said, if you stay behind, the colonel said, if you stay behind the fence, I'll bring him by. Instant cooperation. So there's that's the photos that you saw, was Elvis coming by to meet the fans that were at the gate. So, many of you saw him in Roanoke. This is a magazine that I would highly recommend. It's just got some fantastic pictures in it that are, I'm not going to say unpublished, but more on the rare side. And the Roanoke Civic Center did a nice thing for Elvis. Elvis, our memories forever when he died. And it's just, I mean, hello, look at that. I mean, it's just a phenomenal book that's got great pictures on the inside of it.
And that's the scene from Elvis before
When he was handed the guitar, yes.
and he broke it.
And he broke it, and then he sings "Carry Me Back to Old Virginia." Yes, yes. I have a small YouTube channel, and I went there and filmed and took some of the original pictures that the colonel had given out, and it's really neat to see how it's kind of changed. But when you watch Elvis on tour and you see the airplane come in, that is Roanoke. It's right up the road from here.
And Mary works there.
And speaking of tickets, this is probably at the moment, probably the most heavy hitter that I've got. It doesn't look like much, but it's from June 26, 77, Indianapolis. Anybody know what that is? Right there. They squeaked it to $15 for front row at that point. So, but $15 would have still got you right up front with Elvis. What's that? Yeah. It actually was expensive, $15. I've seen tickets for like the Rolling Stones and Led Zeppelin. All of those guys actually were kind of getting their start, so they didn't really have like heavy ticket prices. So Charles Stone's a good friend of mine, and he worked a lot with Concerts West, who booked all of Elvis's shows. And any guess who the two acts that they constantly bumped heads with? So they would go to book Elvis. Okay, we're going to come to Roanoke. Okay, we need this date to this date. Oh, so sorry. So-and-so is here. Any guess who the top two acts of the 70s were that constantly shuffled Elvis around the country because it was a constant moving around. It wasn't Tom. Are you ready for this? You ready for this? Liberace. And then the second one was Lawrence Welk. And also the other one that they ran into a lot too was Billy Graham's Crusades. We'd like to book Elvis this week. I'm sorry, Billy Graham is here. Okay. So Billy Graham, Liberace, and Lawrence Welk and Elvis were literally like the top 4 acts on tour in the 70s. I mean, I love Tom, don't get me wrong, but he didn't give Elvis a run for his money. I mean, I heard Elvis. Well, Elvis in Indiana, when he performed there in '74, does Fever, and all the girls are screaming and everything, and he says, Tom Jones only wishes. So I brought this along as well. We didn't do a picture of this, but so this says Elvis Extra Special Show by popular demand, Sunday morning, September 3rd, 3 a.m. So this was a card that was from the Las Vegas Hilton, and a lot of people, I'm going to kind of dispel something. A lot of people, said that, the Colonel worked him a lot. He actually did a 1-hour show. If you were to go see Elton John or Paul McCartney or something, you would see now, if somebody did a 60-minute show, you'd be like, what are you doing? Like, we just got seated and you're over with. So Elvis did 60-minute shows, and then he also added the introduction, which was almost like another 15 or 20 minutes. So by the later 70s, Elvis was doing literally like a 40-minute show. So they would do multiple shows. They would do a dinner show. Sometimes they would do a midnight show. And then every so often they would do a 3 a.m. show. There was one show that he wanted to do in honor of his mother that was like a 3 a.m. show. So if you kind of combine maybe a dinner show and an evening show, that's 2 hours. That's kind of what we get now. He just broke it up into 2 sections. So that's something to think about. But this is a pretty rare card. My friend's father was a fan club president from England and took this off the table and then was able to actually go backstage and meet Elvis because he was a fan club president. So what makes this valuable isn't this side, it's that side. To Paul, many thanks for your loyal support and friendship, Elvis Presley. And also, the movie is heavily based on the International Hotel. And this would have been a tab pin that you could have bought in 71, 72-ish. And then you just bent this part back, and then there was multiple colors, multiple sayings that was on it. So this is kind of what the early concert pin was. They went from the pins in the 50s, but then when he started playing Vegas, they started doing a lot of tab pins. And it's really fun to see the fans wear these. There's one picture of a guy, he's got like 25 of them on his shirt. But these are a little tough because the middle of them, they snap off pretty easy. So, but that is a tab pin from Elvis's early Vegas years. Did anybody see him in Vegas at the International? You did, yeah, you saw him, yeah. I don't see your tab pin. She didn't get a tab pin. Then, as Taylor said, they do call me the Colonel, which, no bones about it, I do like him. I've done a lot of research on him. So I brought some of his stuff, so don't throw tomatoes at me. This is one of Colonel's hats from his estate. He actually had this at the time of his death. Sometimes when I wear it, I get a little out of control, so I don't wear them too often. Kind of shout orders. And didn't bring the glasses, but I do have the glasses. This is a photo from Always Elvis, the Colonel in Vernon. This is when they did the dedication to the statue that's at the Las Vegas Hilton. And in his pocket is his glasses case, and this is the glasses case that he's got in his pocket. There again, something directly out of Colonel's estate. And then this I thought would be kind of fun. You know, he kind of gets a bad rap of, you know, cheap about things. But if you talk to a fan club president from that particular period in time, so this is an envelope, and it had this postcard of the gold Cadillac when it went on tour in the 60s. Elvis was doing the movies. He wasn't available, so what do? We send his car. So this really nice lady here in Chicago, Illinois, received the postcard in the mail. It's dated December 9th, 1965, so it probably had something to do, like a nice little Christmas present. And it was from Colonel Parker. So all of the promotional material that was sent out, all of the postcards and all of that kind of stuff, the Colonel really was a promotional machine for Elvis. Any of the movies that were coming out, he heavily promoted. So he literally just spent, you know, him and his staff all the time, like, what can we do to send stuff to fans? What can we do to, you know, they did Christmas cards, they did Easter cards, they did all kinds of just free stuff. And who do you think paid for this to be made, to be sent to a fan? Do you think it was Elvis, or do you think it was the Colonel that paid for this? No, it was RCA. If you look down here, there's a little tiny RCA nipper dog down here. Any of the promoted material that was made, none of it was ever paid for by Elvis, and none of it was ever paid for by Colonel Parker. It was either RCA, the Hilton Corporation, or there's also some stuff from Tahoe as well, Del Webb Sierra Tahoe. So any of the promotional material that they would have sent out, anything related to that, it was always somebody else that paid for it. It never came out of Elvis's pocket. And the same thing with the programs. In the 70s, when you bought a program, let's say you bought a program for $1, there would have been an ad for the Hilton, and there was also an ad in there for RCA. They paid for it. The 50-50 that everybody thinks the Colonel took was actually just on the merchandise. I actually have the payrolls, the original payrolls. It was 20%. So the movie was fun, but it wasn't really accurate. I will tell you, based on Elvis's original payroll, when he bought the airplane, he had to give 5 years worth of assets to the bank, and I own the original of that. I will tell you who did take 50% of his money. It was Uncle Sam. You would not believe the money that Elvis paid in taxes. It was ridiculous. So, but all of the payroll was there. Colonel came out at 20%. He did get some consulting fees from RCA and things like that, but he didn't take all this money that everyone thinks that he did. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to do a video coming up. Well, as a matter of fact, here, I'll do a little teaser for you. Me trying to swipe my phone with the glove on. That's smart. I'll just play it in here. So I'm doing some research now, and at the end of the film, it talks a lot about how the Colonel just kind of wandered around the casino and was just kind of an old man that wasn't doing anything. So my friend who owns Colonel's estate told me this the other day, and I said, "Are you kidding me?" Like, he said something that was just kind of like totally off base. So I'm doing a video on this, and I actually found some things to prove it. Does anybody in here like George Strait? Okay. How many of you seen Prime Country? Prime Country, okay. Any guess whose idea it was for Pure Country?
Tom Parker, Elvis's old manager, has manager. And we've been playing Vegas for a lot of years, and he's been coming out to see us just about since we started playing out there, and we've kind of got to be pretty good friends. And he kept telling me, George, you got to get in the movies. And so, you know, I just kind of laugh. First time I looked at it, to be truthful, I kind of had my doubts about it. I didn't really know, you know, I really wanted to do it. And so I told Jerry that. I told Jerry Weintraub that. He says, George, trust me. We're going to change the script. So anyway, he did. And they made some changes to it. And I decided I'd go ahead and do it.
How about that? Who knew that? I didn't know this until just recently. So a customer of mine ran into George Strait recently. She asked him about the Colonel, and George confirmed. He goes, yep, Pure Country happened because of Colonel Parker. So, interesting thing there. So, brought. Just kind of a fun program. So, Elvis was a big personality. The Colonel was too. So this is one of the programs he gave to his buddies. So that's some of the stuff that I brought. Do you guys have any questions on any of the memorabilia or anything? Yes? The ID bracelets? Yes. So he gave those out over the course of several years. I know he started, probably the earliest ones that I know of started with the Imperials. My friend Joe Mascao was in the Imperials, and everybody had a nickname. So Joe's was, sorry Joe, not your secret here, his was the Italian Stallion. He was an Italian Stallion. So yeah, the ID bracelets that he would give out, he would put people's nicknames on it. And then he gifted those a lot of times for Christmas and birthdays and stuff like that. So they had a lot of fun with what the nicknames were. Some of them I can't publicly repeat, but what's that? Elvis, yes, he actually had several different ID bracelets. His just had his name on it. There was one that had the small one, and then there was a bigger one. He liked the ID bracelets. I believe both of them are in a private collection at this point. Graceland doesn't have a lot of jewelry. Unfortunately, I think some of it just kind of left in '77. So they've got some stuff, but some of the gold jewelry is actually in private collections. Yeah. Crazy, yeah, one of his did have crazy on it, yeah. Yeah. Oh, come on. Yeah. Okay, sometimes, you know, you have characters in the story, and what you think actually is not really how things were. You know, Colonel, perfect example. But to answer your question, J.D. Sumner's nickname on the tour was Mr. Hands. There's not a lot of gospel guys that have done books because they said they would be a little thin on what they could put in there. So, yeah, there is a concert from Vegas in '75. It's on one of the FTD labels, and Elvis says, "JD, you're looking awfully tired over there. You're not hitting the notes. How many girls were you chasing through the hallways last night?" So, yes. So that was Mr. J.D. Sumner. For you. Oh, which one? The jumpsuit that he was going to be wearing? The red one. Oh, the burning love suit. I have photos of me with it. Yes, a customer of mine has it. He owned it. Yeah, he owned it, and then it was, there was a boys' charity, a charity had reached out at some point in '76 or something, and Elvis made the decision to go ahead and donate the jumpsuit. So it was actually sold in the 70s. Yeah, my customer, one of my customers has it. I got to see it up close. It's maroon. It's not red. It's maroon. It's almost like the color of the seats. It's very, very, very dark. Well, the lighting made it look red, but yeah, to see it up close, and it's very small. But yeah, sometimes I just I'll go to a customer's house and I'll see the stuff that they have, and I think, no, I'm just going to throw everything of mine in the garbage. Like, this is just, some of these people have collections that are just over the top, like behind glass and everything. I'm just like, oh, so that's where that went. Okay. He owned all of his jumpsuits. There's only like 14 that are out, something like that. There's only just a handful of people that own all of them. There is a jumpsuit club of the people that have the original jumpsuits. One more question. Anybody have a question? No? Yes? I know the burning glove suit had to be restored. Graceland has almost all of them. Yeah, they have almost all of them. They have a really fantastic exhibit there now. I know the burning glove suit had to be restored because somebody decided to modify it to their specifications from Elvis. So, well, I appreciate your time. Thanks for letting me. I feel like a first grader. This is like a kindergarten show and tell, I feel like, Appreciate it, thank you.
One more time for Jon Daly, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for him. If you guys have any more questions or whatnot, Jon has a table out there I'm sure that you've seen, and I've seen a lot of people been wearing your shirts too. So yeah, he's got a lot of cool shirts and whatnot. So go out there and check out his merchandise that he has. There's this really cool, do you still have those shirts with the I think it's the shirt you gave me last night, which is yes. You still have those? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So definitely go out there and check him out. He's got a lot of cool things. And hey, I wouldn't mind if you messed up my hair with that. I honestly wouldn't. But one more time for Jon Daly. Seriously, just thank you. Oh.
Early Hodge.
I can honestly say I'm not as nervous as I was wearing the actual ring, though. But this is pretty cool because I've never seen a scar. Again, one more time, Jon Daly.